Fight for Iowa. Let every loyal Iowan sing.
Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly talk show on PATV Channel 18. That's public access television. I'm Dirk Keller. This is Bob Boyd, and this is Earl Murphy. And you might notice that Bud Supple is not with us today. Bud is on a scouting assignment, checking out the upcoming Louisiana-Monroe team to make sure that all of our ducks are in a row. So Bud will be back with us soon. But until then, we want to say hi to Bud and Carol and the whole family out there. And
Yes.
we survived. We survived
Barely.
the
boy.
Pitt game.
Man.
I learned something, and I'm going to share this with you. I talked to Murph about it last night. Now, we've heard that the come-from-behind victory that Iowa had over Pitt last Saturday was the greatest comeback in Hawkeye football history, over 123 years of
That's what
football
they're
games.
saying, yeah.
And that part is true. Iowa won 32-27. And before I get into the real eye-opener,
Which game? Which game?
well, the Pitt game.
Well, that was 31-27.
What did I say?
31-27, biggest comeback ever. Yeah.
Did you know the Hawks in that game did not score a touchdown until there was a minute left in the third quarter?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It didn't dawn on me until I read that stat.
Yeah.
But they were down 17 points with 10 minutes left to go.
That's correct.
In the game.
Pitt had scored a field goal after, 24-10 at the end of the third, and they got a field goal, right?
Yeah.
27-10 then at that point. Okay.
But this was not the greatest comeback or the greatest scoring effort in a come-from-behind win. We've heard that the Oregon game in 1949 had been the greatest comeback, and it's true. In that game against Oregon in 1949 here at Kinnick Stadium, let's see here. Oregon, I got to get this all right here. Oregon was ahead 24-6 over Iowa. But this was a very dramatic come-from-behind victory for Iowa. It started with Bob Longley from Davenport fielding a punt at the 6-yard line. At the 6-yard line. Again, down 24-6.
Yep.
And he took that punt and returned it 94 yards for a touchdown. This was followed by a Jerry Fask pass to Jack Dittmer for a 21-yard touchdown, bringing Iowa to within 4 points.
Right.
However, Oregon responded with a kickoff return for a touchdown to widen the lead back to 11 points. On the ensuing kickoff, Bill Reichert, a City High grad, returned that kick 99 yards for a touchdown. And later, Bill Reichert, scored another touchdown to put Iowa up 34-31. Now, if you do the math, in less than 10 minutes, Iowa had scored 28 points and Oregon 7. Much of it in dramatic fashion. And Earl was at that game, 1949. You would have been, how old would you have been, 26?
Well,
So you're 88?
23.
23.
Jim Sangster was on that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
From Iowa City, of course.
Well, I got some more news for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Jerry Fask was a left-handed tailback. He's
Okay.
from Brooklyn, New York.
Really?
Yes, he was a high school All-American. He was a fantastic football player. He was a Bremer's best customer.
Is that right?
No.
Oh, yeah?
He was in there all the time. He'd come in and see me. And I decided one time on a buying trip to New York that I was going to look him up. And this was in the 60s or 70s,
Yeah.
back then. And I got a hold of him, and he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm at a hotel." And I told him the hotel. I said, "How do we get there?" And he said, "You're about a half a mile from me." And he was in a jewelry store. rows and rows of booths, and he had a booth 8 by 8, and when I walked in, he was over a machine. He was cutting a diamond.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and that'd be all from a guy that was real active to wasn't active at all anymore. And when he saw me away, he just went ape. And
Jerry Fast.
yeah, and he's left-handed tailback, and he completed I think the pass was fast to Dittmer.
That's what it says here. 21-yard
yeah.
touchdown.
But anyhow, when he ran for 183 yards and 20 attempts against the Northwestern, which was tremendous back in those
You
days.
bet.
The victory before Oregon was a victory against Northwestern. Fred Ruck threw a pass to Jack Dittmer for an Iowa victory, 26-21. A week later, they played the most exciting comeback effort in Iowa history was unfolded before 38,000 people. Late in the third period, with the Hawks trailing Oregon 24-6, Bob Longley fielded a web-foot punt at the Oregon Webfoots.
The Webfoots.
Webfoots. Gee. Oregon Webfoots.
The Oregon Ducks were known as the Webfoots.
Yeah, well, Ducks is a little better than
This
Webfoots, but
book-
not much.
I'm reading it was written by Burt McCrane. He was a real Iowa authority.
Yep. He's written some other Iowa books, too.
He was he with the Des Moines Register then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I knew his daughter when I was in school.
Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
He had a son.
I want to say Aaron McGrane.
And he had a son who was a wonderful fellow. Anyhow, Bob Longley fielded a webfoot punt on his own 6 and raced 94 yards to score. The longest punt return in SUI history. That means the State University of Iowa. Yeah.
Okay.
Moments later, a 21-yard touchdown pass, fast to Dittmer, brought the Hawkeyes close, 24-20. But Oregon retaliated, pushing the margin 31-20. That's unusual that Oregon would have scored the same points that Iowa scored.
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. And folks, back then, they didn't have a hurry-up offense.
No.
This back and forth series of scoring was just unprecedented.
But anyhow, on the issuing kickoff, Bill Reichart, real Iowa City native,
Yep.
dashed 99 yards to score once again, leaving the Iowans 4 points short. After holding,
Do you remember that play, Earl?
oh sure,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
God,
It just must have been electrifying.
Reichart smashing, after holding Oregon. It sounds like the Iowa game with Pitt, right? Only this was done by running, and theirs is done all by passing. Reichart smashed into the end zone. Iowa has scored 28 points in 9 minutes 47 seconds.
So Reichert
28
scored the
points.
last touchdown of the game.
Yes.
Did it say how much time was left?
In the final minute after the invaders
Wow.
had gained a first down on the Iowa 4.
Wow.
Oregon was on the 4-yard line.
Wow.
28 points in 9 minutes. And what'd you say, Murph? 27 seconds?
47.
47. Okay.
Jack Dittmer, one of the great pass receiving ends to play for the Old Gold, finished his career the holder of 5 school records. Well, and it gives they have the best of the decade.
Oh, the decade?
Decade. 1940 to 1949. They have 2 ends, and I know them both personally. Jack Dittmer, he 46, 47, 48, and 49.
Yeah.
He also lettered in baseball and became quite proficient at that. He had asthma, just terrible,
Oh.
and it cut his career short.
He was with the Braves organization, correct?
Mhm.
And where did he grow up?
Elkader,
Elkader.
Oh, okay.
Up north.
yeah.
Up in the northeast part of the
That's a
state.
pretty little town.
And
Yeah.
Bill Parker, he worked for Amana
Really?
as a independent dealership,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
and he and George Forstner were quite close.
Ah.
Yeah.
Where was he from?
Davenport, and
Davenport?
we had seats. He was right behind me, and he always had he had his mouth in my ear.
Oh, yeah. I feel sorry for the people that sit in front of me.
And the tackles were Bill Kay. He was from Walnut, Iowa. And the guards were Banks and Anderson. I didn't know them. And Bob Liddy, they have him on as a center, just to have him on the all-star team. He was the athletic director at Davenport West. And Dick Woodard, he was from Fort Dodge, and he was a All-American center, and he's a real good one. He played for the Giants.
His recall is just amazing, Bob.
Oh, I know it.
And M. Lintonell, that's my
yeah.
favorite
Oh, M.
player.
Tonnell, yes.
He was on this team.
No.
Oh, he was earlier in the decade.
He played about 45, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Who did he end up playing? Was it the Giants he played for in the pros?
Oh,
M.
Emlyn
Tonnell?
Tonnell?
no, he played for Green Bay for a while.
Did he? Okay.
But and the Giants, he was a star there.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that. But I know about it. He called me one time. We were playing somebody the next day. I was playing somebody. He called me on Friday night, and he was over to the athletic club. And we had just gotten into bed. It was 10:30
Oh.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Telephone rings. I grab it. I said, hello. He said, hello, Murph. This is Emlyn. Could you come over, have a drink with me at the athletic club? So I said, it's Emlyn Tonnell. So, and she said, where is he? And I said, at the athletic club. She said, let's go. And we put the clothes back on.
I'll be darned,
Went to the
yeah.
athletic club. It's more fun.
You bet.
Oh,
This is one of the reasons I love working with Earl on this show, because he is a wealth of knowledge about Hawkeye history.
Oh, yeah.
And
Mr. Hawkeye history.
he doesn't just know it, he lived it and he experienced it. When I called him last night and said, I found out about this 1949 game and I want to talk about it, because
Yeah.
we thought what we witnessed last Saturday was epic and historic, and in fact it was.
Yeah.
But in reality, this 1949 game really trumped the comeback last Saturday.
It equaled it. They
Well,
both-
points-wise, it set the record,
Yeah.
but this was probably a better game from start to finish.
They
the
scored more
49,
points
yeah.
in
different ways.
yeah.
They passed quite a bit in this game, which was really unusual, it seems
we
like,
scored
in
one
49.
a touchdown by a trick play.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, fast through a Dittmer.
Yes.
That's
The
one
tailback.
pass. Yeah. He took off to his left and
You know,
Yeah.
you brought up something, Murph, that would be interesting for us to get for our listeners. You brought up the decade, 40 to 49. Wouldn't it be interesting to trace Iowa football from, let's say, 1900 and 1909, 1910 to 19...
Well,
It's
this
here.
book is in. That's what this book does.
we can copy that.
Yeah.
Well, we should. Wouldn't that be fun to kind of review that?
Yes.
Well, here's a.
Maybe that week of the bye week.
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Let's do that then.
Hey, here's,
Yeah, just some interesting trivia.
The 10 years from 1930 to 1939, you'll recognize some names. Bob Lannon, he played from 35 to 37. Irvin Prassey,
Oh yeah.
he played from 37.
He was the team captain, wasn't
Yes,
he?
he was.
Yeah.
And Mike Enoch,
Sure.
Niall Kinnick, and Dick Crane, and Joe Laws.
Yeah.
And then,
Now, did you ever meet Niall Kinnick?
no, but I was fortunate because I did it myself. They were practicing east of the current stadium, and
Where the baseball and softball field, well, baseball.
no,
field.
no, east of the, there was a softball diamond there.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
Yeah.
Where my PE classes were. Back
Okay,
in
that's
the day.
It was a
Yep.
vacant field, basically,
Right.
though, wasn't it?
And
Baseball was there too.
Yeah, right.
And I go to practice. I went to practice about not over 3 times, but I went over there to see Kenny punt with Frank Cridio, and I just walked over and stood on the sidelines, watched it, and left when I felt like it. So I never met him, but I saw him.
You saw him up close.
Yeah, but it was fooling around with Cridio. But here, I'll give you the. There's John Raffensperger's dad.
Yeah. Looks
Yeah.
like Raph himself.
Yeah.
This
And-
is an incredible book.
Yes.
For the viewers who can't see the book, again, the name of it is. What's the name?
Oh, the
The Fighting Hawkeyes by
Yeah.
Dick Lamb and Bert McGrain. 75 years of Hawkeye football. Now we've got, 110 years behind us?
There's my pig.
Yeah, well, it's
There's
120, isn't it?
Is it now?
120?
You know,
Since 1889.
8 or 9, that'd be 122 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
123 years.
here's Floyd of Rosedale, the pig that they brought to my room when I had my first stroke. When the great score comes to right against our time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good stuff, Earl.
Wait a second, you get on this last. Calvin?
Did you ever meet Calvin?
No. Oh, yes, I did. He used to. The Bremer store was right next to Lubin's,
Oh,
Yeah.
and he'd come in, and grab a soda that they put
Yeah.
ice cream in, and fill it full of milk, drink it, and leave.
And nobody messed with him. Big Calvin.
Oh, maybe not. There's Jeter.
Bobby Jeter.
He's gone now, too.
Yeah.
He was one of the great Iowa Hawkeyes in the
Well.
50s.
Well, we
Big
witnessed history on Saturday again.
Boy.
It was an epic come-from-behind victory over Pitt, scoring 21 points late to win 31-27. Now, I will admit, I left the game at halftime. I was unhappy. I needed a beer. And
You left the game at halftime?
I had 2 extra tickets.
Yeah?
And I left my 10-year-old in there who likes to go down on the field to watch the game. So I knew I had to go back in. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
left if I didn't have extra
Sure,
tickets.
sure.
Went out to the tailgater, had a beer, turned on the game, watched the third quarter, which only made me more unhappy. Had another beer, had something to eat, went back in, and they wouldn't let me in at the start of the fourth quarter.
What?
They said that new policy, they don't let people re-enter after the fourth quarter starts.
But you had a new ticket.
I said, I got 2 tickets. I got $120 worth of tickets says I can come back in.
Well,
They
what'd
said,
say
you'll
then?
have to go talk to the ticket office. And I was at the northeast corner where my seats are.
Yeah.
I said, let me guess. Ticket office, southwest corner,
You
all
got
the
it.
way around.
You got it.
Yes, sir. And I had a few choice words for that security person, and I walked around the corner, and I went to the very first entrance on the east side, on the press box side, on the west side, excuse me,
Yeah.
on the press box side, and there looked to be like high school girls as security there.
Yeah.
I handed them one of my tickets, and they went, okay, I guess you're all right. And they took my ticket, which nobody does anymore. They scan them with an
Yes.
electronic scanner
Yeah.
and then hand it back to you. This girl just took my ticket, and I just walked in. So I did get to witness the last 2 scores
Yeah.
of the fourth quarter, but not the first because I was too busy walking back and forth between ticket takers.
Well, shame on you.
Yeah, I was not happy. It felt like,
Yeah.
you know what it felt like? It felt like the Western Michigan game all over
That's
again.
exactly what I was thinking sitting there. What a terrible end of the 07 season that was. Probably the worst game I've witnessed in Kinnick for a long time. Disappointing.
Yeah.
And that that game last Saturday felt like that until about the end of the third quarter, didn't it?
Yeah, it felt like the season
Yeah.
was the life of this season was passing before my eyes.
If I were you, I'd keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But you know what? This team,
I've heard that before.
this team, I think about it, let's assume we beat Louisiana-Monroe this Saturday. We should. But there was a good possibility Saturday that we were going into the Big Ten season at 2-2. Now we're going in 3-1. Nothing wrong with that. But this team grew up a little bit on Saturday.
Oh, right
Think of the
before our
confidence.
eyes.
Think of the confidence that they gained by coming back, the way they did. And certainly that fourth quarter, they had to do everything just right and perfect.
Yep.
And they did. But you know what? If the defense doesn't step up, finally, it may not happen. So you've got to give credit to both sides
Bingo.
of the ball. I mean,
Yep.
the offense got all the attention, of course, because of the comeback. But we had a couple stops, and we had a second interception by Micah Hyde that, we don't get that. We may not win yet.
Did you guys catch the replay of the game Sunday night? Well, I had forgotten about a couple of these plays, but we talked earlier about Pitt scoring that field goal late in the fourth quarter. If it wasn't for this play by James Morris on 3rd and 3,
Yes.
it was kind of a broken play
Yes.
on our part, on the Iowa defensive part. They
Yeah.
were scrambling, trying to get set before the hurry-up offense kicked in. And in spite of all the confusion, James Morris broke through, and I can't remember, I think it was the little running back, Graham, who got the ball and stuffed him for a loss. And then the next play
Big
was
play.
4th and short, and they were going to go for it, I think. Gosh.
Can't remember.
I think I've got this mixed up. But I know James Morris came up
I
with a
think
big
they
stop.
took a timeout
Is that how it was?
after that play.
Yeah. I mean, James Morris had a huge play.
But that's the point. The defense stepped up
Yes, they
in
did.
that fourth quarter when they had to do it.
Yes, they did.
And, wow, what a finish. But,
Was it the loudest you've ever heard Kinnick?
I'd hate to say that because we've been in there so many times
Yeah.
when the crowd really got into it.
It was about as quite a few people left.
Yes.
Student section was just about empty.
They just about
Yeah.
Yeah, we had several
the
people
number of
behind
people
us.
were there. That was loudest. They were screaming their heads off.
Oh, I mean, it was exciting because everybody was pumped up and high-fiving and yelling and screaming. But I can remember when we kind of
But
upset
one
Michigan
one
about
person wasn't Kirk.
He was emotional.
Did
Did you see that on,
Was he?
on the replay?
No.
Just before the clock ticked down to the final seconds, he was starting to get congratulations from different coaches and other people on the sideline, and he was tearful. This meant a lot to him, and that meant a lot to me to see him express that emotion in such a public venue. This meant a lot. I think he may have seen this season's life pass before his eyes there a little earlier in the day, and he knows what this comeback meant.
You know how many coaches coach a son?
Not very many.
And I bet they had when they got by themselves somehow.
I mean,
Well-
James and the rest of the offensive line really stepped up in that fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, going back to his tearfulness, that emotion there at the end of the game, I felt tears for about the first 3 quarters.
Those are not
This
tears
can't
of
be
joy,
happening.
though. No,
Well, those
it
are tears
happened.
of sorrow.
And you look at that stadium, it's beautiful.
When it's all decked out in yellow like that, Bob,
Yeah.
I wish you could have seen it. It was just beautiful.
It was.
But it's so impressive in a night game when it's decked out. I mean, that's tough to beat,
Yep.
isn't it? Some of those night games that we've had recently with
With the airplanes.
oh yeah, I mean that's pretty hard to top. We know they can't get much lower.
I was talking to Dale Arns
Yeah.
before the game Saturday, and we were talking about that flyover. And we're going to have another flyover this year.
The Northwestern night game.
That's what I said, and he said, I don't know, and if I did, I couldn't tell you anyway.
I'll give you. I bet pretty strongly it won't be the same group of pilots.
Well, and he
Once
told me a
retired.
story about those pilots. He said
Yeah.
it really wasn't their fault. He said, number one, most of the flyovers that have occurred at Kinnick come from the south, the airport side, to the north.
Yeah.
And he said that was the plan that day, but apparently there was a small plane that took off at the Iowa City airport. Didn't check with, you know how that Iowa City airport is. They
Oh,
may have
geez.
somebody in the tower, they may not.
Yeah.
And apparently some guy took off in his plane, and the way Dale explained it was, these fighter pilots, they've got split seconds to make decisions from
Oh my. That's
20
for
miles
sure.
away.
Yeah.
They're going so fast. And so at the last minute, he had to make a decision. Do I go high above him or low below him? This guy was rising.
Wow.
And so he took the low route. And that's why he came so close. He knew he wasn't going to hit. Well,
Oh, sure he did. He knew.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I never knew that story, but Dale explained that to me before the game last Saturday. Interesting little side note. But we will have another flyover this year, and I don't know when, but
I bet it's that game.
we'll see.
Or homecoming, maybe.
Is always 4 planes 4?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. We've seen a few flyovers.
I think.
I don't know. It's
Okay.
always so fast. I don't know. And what we didn't discuss was that James Vandenberg, the Hawkeye quarterback, was named the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. He threw for
Yes.
399 yards.
I think they could have squeaked out another yard
Yeah.
somewhere.
That was ridiculous. He was in.
The Bullock run.
Oh, that
Yeah.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fairly controversial.
Well,
boy.
do you know that this passing total that Vandy had on Saturday was 7th all-time best for Hawkeye quarterbacks? 7th.
And most of it done in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I got to ask you now, the penalties in the first
Oh.
quarter and first half are really unusual for an Iowa team. Now, I don't know this. One penalty, I guess, I believe, against Pitt. Was that a Big East crew?
Yeah.
I wondered.
I mean, I'm just thinking this is way out of balance. Usually.
Yep.
Okay, I wondered about
I counted 7 penalties at the half on Iowa. Now, the official numbers say 6, so I'm probably wrong.
How many on Pitt? Was it one?
1.
That's what I thought.
Yep. And granted, I remember one penalty.
The first one.
We did it. But everything else after that, I just,
Well, there were some obvious holding calls from people around me on Pitt that were not called.
Now, you're listening on the radio.
Yes, I
And
am.
I was going to ask you this later, but what was Eddie Podolak saying about it?
Well, the most interesting thing I think Eddie said, well, other than shooting ourselves in the foot the first half by our own mistakes and penalties, late in the third quarter, might have been after they went ahead 24-3, before we had scored that touchdown at the end of the third quarter, Ed Podolak said, and he's very tactful on the radio. He never ever criticizes the coaching staff. He's very neutral but pro Iowa. And he said, I don't want to second guess the coaching staff, but they best think about going into the hurry up 2-minute offense because we need to make this game look a little more respectable than it is, and what we're doing is not working, and I hope they do that. We said that a couple times, and then, boom, it happened.
They didn't have any choice.
Well, no, but how many? Oh, listen, okay. After we won this game, I'm sitting there thinking, and we're all real happy, and
You bet.
and the thing, and this is something that bothered a lot of people last week against Iowa State, you have to give these kids a chance to win. We get the ball on the 20-yard line, minute 17 with 2 timeouts, and after you saw what they can do on their hurry-up offense, 2-minute offense, I hope that if that occurs again, that opportunity, that we allow the kids to try to march down the field and win the ball game.
Well, Eddie said so at the Iowa State game with a minute 17. I think you go for the win.
I agree.
Or, I'm
'cause
sorry. I think you try to score.
A field goal, we need to get in field goal position.
On
That
the
is
road,
correct.
I think you try to score here.
Yeah, and we know how that turned out, but again, hindsight, 2020. You know, we can all look at that after the game and say this is what we would have, should have done.
And Coach Ferentz did say in that news conference after Iowa State, in hindsight, I would have done it differently.
Yeah, you know, but he's the coach, and we all think he's doing a great job, and so we're all behind Coach Ferentz and his staff. But I bet he'd like to have that to do over again. But you know what? The next time, if there is one, I think we'll get that opportunity.
There'll be one. Probably this year. There'll be one.
But you know, the interesting thing about the first 3 games is they're all record-setting. Okay, we have the first ever lightning delay and emptying of Kinnick Stadium in the history of the program, first game. We score the most points in a loss and our first triple overtime against Iowa State, and then the biggest comeback in Iowa history in the third game. What the heck's going to happen on Saturday, Murph? You got any predictions?
I'd settle for an old-fashioned blowout myself.
Yeah, that'd be nice. How about the most points ever scored by an Iowa team? That would be
we got to, I think, be very wary of Louisiana-Monroe. Very athletic team, very hard to predict. They've got 2 quarterbacks that they play intermittently, sometimes at the same time. They throw a lot of different things at you offensively. They're very speedy. Yep, very quick. Maybe
skilled
the
athletes.
Overall quickest team we'll face this year.
You know, we can't assume that we're going to beat anybody, but we're all assuming that with this team. But, you know, there was a statistic this week that, they played something like 35 Division I teams in their history, and they've only won once.
Alabama.
4 years ago in Alabama. So you're going, well, that gets your attention, doesn't it?
And they've played Big 12 teams right to the hilt. They've played Florida State right to the hilt. They have played some big teams tough.
Yeah.
Everything you say.
Yep. So this is not going to be an easy game for Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, to plan for. It's not going to be an easy game for Ken O'Keefe to plan for. It looks like we will have the advantage in weight and size, and should be able to run on these guys.
And depth, probably.
Oh, yeah. You would think. But,
you would think.
Hey, the Hawkeyes are not exactly deep in very many positions right now.
That is true.
We don't know how good the Hawkeyes are.
Not yet.
No, you're right. We don't.
Not yet.
And this game will show. I predict that I was going to win, but
I was kind of disappointed when this season came out to have our bye week prior to the first game of the Big Ten schedule. You'd like to have it maybe a few games in, but for this team, it may be pretty good.
Do we have anything to say about that game? I mean, the bye.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No, it's just dictated.
I mean, it's dictated by the Big Ten schedule, but for this team, it may be really good timing to heal up a little bit. You got 2 weeks to prepare for Penn State,
and we're going to play Joe Paul, and I'm glad of that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
I am too.
Joe Paul will be 85 in December, isn't that something?
Wow. And I think he's a problem for them. They don't know how to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think it's really hurting their recruiting, and that's kind of starting to show up, don't you, Murph?
Who was it? Somebody we know talked to some Pitt fans after the game, and Pitt and Penn State used to be bitter rivals. In fact, so bitter that I think once Penn State joined the Big Ten, they quit playing each other. And these guys, whoever they were, said that Joe Pa is a big problem for Penn State because he won't quit. And the longer it takes, I think they thought, the more damage he does to the program long term. We'll see.
Well, from a recruiting standpoint, that could be an issue. I mean, it's been talked about a little bit.
They've been saying that for 15 years now.
Well, yeah, but he's also had some darn good teams in that period of time.
He has.
And there 5 or 6 years ago, he had a couple mediocre teams, had one losing season. Then, 2 or 3 years running, he's roaring right back. I mean, you sure can't argue with his success.
No.
How many Big Ten champions did he have? Championships.
I think one.
That's right.
I was going to say one, then I wondered, is it none? But early on, when they came to the Big Ten, didn't they get one?
Well, it
No.
was a while. It was
think
in the
it-
90s.
95 or 96.
That's a good trivia question we need to have answered. They came in like 92 or 93, didn't they? 93 maybe? I mean, they've been in the
Sounds
Big Ten
about
for
right.
18 seasons or so.
Wow, it seems like yesterday.
And I'm thinking they only have one championship.
I think you're right.
They might have two or
I don't
a
think.
combination of, like a tie for first place maybe. I don't know, but
How many times did we beat them?
oh boy.
7 out of 8.
I was going to say 7 out of the last 8, but overall, I don't know.
Well,
It's about a tie.
our
I think.
record's pretty darn good against them, that's for sure,
Yeah.
especially Kirk's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If we win Saturday, we go into that game 3-1, and I don't know who they play that October 1st, and we have an open date. But they were lucky to beat Temple. 14-10. Their offense.
They played in that little
It's not too
tiny
good.
stadium that Temple calls home.
I'd have to say we'd be
Palestra.
the favorites for that ball game right now.
Well,
You
A
know,
lot can happen in between.
Before the season started, a lot of those people that work for the Big Ten Network were picking Iowa to win all their games. So
yeah. Well, there's a long way to go, and like
and
Bob
they
said,
got the perfect schedule for it. They don't play Wisconsin, they don't play Illinois, and they don't play Ohio State.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
boy,
Illinois looks good this year.
This is the year I'd like to be playing Ohio State, though.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I don't know if anybody's as good as Wisconsin in the Big Ten.
I don't either. We're going to find out. Ohio State's clearly down.
Wow.
Michigan's bouncing back, but they aren't the team they used to be. Wisconsin's just dominating people.
Oh man, I do think, as Murph said, I think we have a shot if we can continue to grow at our division. I think Michigan State's overrated. I think Michigan's a dark horse. I think Nebraska's overrated, and the rest of them, you just shake us all up over there.
Yeah. Illinois is going to be up there, I think.
But they're in the other division. They're
right.
in the
They could win
leaders
that division.
division.
They could win that division.
I don't think so. I think
They don't
it'll be
play
Wisconsin.
I don't think they play Wisconsin.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just looking at that last night, and
Iowa had the chance.
yeah,
Yeah, we got
for
a
our
chance,
side,
yeah.
Illinois got a real smooth path to their championship or to their division championship.
We can beat Nebraska.
Yeah, you see all the points they've given up the last 2 games?
Yeah, that's not Nebraska defense.
Not impressive.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
had a lot of help from Whit Voet, the official that did our Michigan game.
Yeah.
The Michigan official who.
Yeah, that's helped us out some. Yeah, right.
He gave some questionable penalties to Washington last Saturday that really reversed momentum several times in that game. Nebraska did not look like a steamroller. And they've got, was it you that told me Nebraska's starting a couple of walk-ons?
No.
Somebody told me that at Monday at lunch that Nebraska has got walk-ons on that vaunted black shirt defense. And that's just unheard of for them. So we'll see.
Not unheard of for the Hawks. So
Not
we've
at
had
all.
some real good walk-ons.
Well,
for
and
the
speaking
Hawkeyes.
of walk-ons, Brett Greenwood, I want to give a little update
Yeah.
on Brett Greenwood. I just ran into Greg Morris before I came here. Greg is the equipment manager for the longtime equipment manager for the Hawkeye football team. Also happens to be the father of James Morris. And Saturday has been deemed green out in honor of Brett Greenwood, who's still in a coma, still at University Hospitals, almost 2 weeks now. They tried to bring him out of the coma on his birthday a week ago today, and for a number of reasons they had to induce a coma once more. It's one of those hurry up and wait and let's see how things go, but the university is behind this 100%. Wear green to the
Okay.
game on Saturday. Greg told me a little something that nobody else knows, and I said, is it all right if I say something on the show? He said, yes. They're going to put 2 green stripes on the back of the helmet
Oh.
for Brett. He said, we were going to put number 30 on all the helmets, but then we thought, that might get a little confusing when guys set their helmets down and then come back to put them on. They don't know which one is theirs. So they're going to have 2 green stripes on the back of the helmet. I got to go out and find some green shirts somewhere. I've got one, and it's not suitable for football. And
I got a green sleeveless sweater that I can wear with about anything, so that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
I didn't know how publicized this was going to be, so it's going to be okay. Big deal.
It's in all the media. It went out yesterday, I believe, if not the day before, to all the media outlets in the state.
Okay.
It's been reported on TV, newspaper, radio, and Greg Morris now, and the university's behind it.
I got a green sport coat.
That's perfect. It really is, because it's going to be a little nippy Saturday morning. I think it's supposed to be a high of 64 on Saturday now. They've revised the forecast a bit. I got to go find something warm and green, and by golly, I'm going to do it for Brett Greenwood.
You should have green anyway. I mean, everybody's
Joe
got
says
green for St.
Joe
Patrick's
says my
Day.
teeth
Come
are
on.
green.
Yeah. Well, Murph, back in the olden days, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You went to the ball games with a sport coat and a tie every week, didn't you?
And a hat.
And a hat, yeah.
You betcha. Some
What
of
was
those
that
old photos.
up until what? When's that change? In the 60s?
I think the 50s.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got to keep moving on here. I want to talk about Marcus Coker a little bit.
Yes.
He had another decent day,
That's right.
but I think there's something different about him. And I don't know if he's injured or still recovering from injury.
Well, that's what everybody's saying.
He looks tentative
Yeah.
as he hits the hole.
Yeah. Have you noticed that, Murph, as well?
I haven't.
There's just something different. And maybe it's a fear of fumbling.
Well, yeah. Or is he running more east and west as opposed to north and south?
Not really.
No.
Okay.
No, he's running with both arms around the ball.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that'll alter your style a bit. I won't say it'll slow you up, but it sure could.
Quite a bit.
Would
think.
And according to Kirk yesterday in his weekly news conference, we're going to see Damon Bullock, the freshman fullback.
I was going to ask that. That's good.
We saw him last Saturday, and he should have been given a touchdown for his run, but he wasn't.
Yes.
Well, we have to get another tailback or two
Yeah.
ready because if
Yeah.
Coker goes down, we have a problem.
Yeah, and we're going to have a problem at linebacker
Yeah.
if somebody goes down because Bruce Davis just quit the team mid-season, a senior.
And
Number
everybody
two.
seems really surprised by that.
Everybody, the players, the coaches, nobody is saying why other than personal reasons, and I can't find a reason for it.
Well,
I don't know.
that's too bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's played every game this year, primarily on special teams, but not only. And he's a senior.
fifth-year senior.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just don't know how you walk away from it. But who
That's-
knows?
who knows,
There
you
are
know?
personal things
Yeah.
in our lives that take precedent, and he obviously had one of those arise. So
Well, that's
we've already
too
had
bad.
two linebackers out for the year. We've had linebackers recruited who came and then left, and we're down to basically Tyler Nielsen, who's injured.
How is it?
Is it an ankle with him? Do we know?
I think so. I think it's a foot.
Okay.
I think.
So
don't
you-
quote me, but
Who's starting? Or who'd they bring in his place? He did a pretty good job.
Hitchens,
Hitchens.
right?
Yes.
Hitchens.
That's it. Okay.
And he did a good job.
So now we've got Morris, Kersey, and Hitchens.
Hitchens.
And,
Those are three sophomores.
and they're solid, but we can't. My goodness, we can't afford to get anybody hurt, and we
No.
don't know when Nielsen will be back. And if this would be a good game if he has a foot problem
To
to
stay
keep
out.
him out,
And then the bye.
and then the bye.
How does
and-
McCann get along?
Don't know. I don't know. But it's going to become a numbers game here shortly, if it hasn't already, for the coaching staff.
Yeah.
It's one thing to coach the team up each week, every year, which they've done so well, year in, year out. But at some point, the numbers are going to dictate what you can and can't do.
Injuries. You know. And he
Yeah.
just,
And this senior class has had a lot of defections from their original recruiting class. They've had a lot of kids transfer out or quit for illness or injury or personal reasons, and they just lost another one. And it's just, it's too bad.
Well, what do we have? Do we know what we have as backup redshirt freshmen or true freshmen in the linebacker area? I mean, do we know what? Right now, we're dealing with 4 linebackers.
Yeah,
and Nielsen's hurt.
I read a kid's name this morning and I didn't write it down.
Eight is now.
Who?
8.
That sounds right. Bob, I can't answer your question, but there is a freshman who would be next in line after Nielsen, and I know they were hoping to redshirt him, like they do all these linebackers, because it takes a year to get used to that particular position.
Oh, yeah.
And to grow into that size needed for that position. So we'll see.
They may not have a choice. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kirk said yesterday in the news conference, we'll be fine. And when he says that, I actually feel pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. Wanted to mention that John Campbell,
Yes.
longtime sports director at KCRG TV, somebody I worked with and somebody I consider a friend. We've had him on the show before, which was a great show when we had John Campbell.
Is there anybody that doesn't like John Campbell?
Nobody. I'm serious.
What
There is
a
nobody.
good guy. He did
He
a great job.
Yes, he and longtime
Yeah.
sports information director Phil Hattie
Yeah.
have been nominated into the Hawkeye Media Wall of Fame, which is up in the Breckler press box.
Yes.
And I've never seen it, but I've seen some pictures that were taken of John up there, and it's quite an honor for both these guys. John Campbell, I just love the guy. And
Well,
I sent
Phil
him
Hattie, what a great job
Oh.
he's done. I mean, was it 40 out of 41 years or something?
40. What did he say? He started in 70.
Oh, 70 maybe.
Oh, no, it's 41 years.
41, so it would have been
Okay.
70.
Now, is Phil retiring in June? Is that?
Well, I don't know if it's June,
Or the
but
end
this
of the
is his
year?
last football season.
Okay.
And it might be
Okay.
June.
Yeah, they go on. He goes on half pay or something.
Something.
Oh, is that what they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I ran
Well,
into
there's
Phil.
a guy we should have Phil on, and we could
Well,
probably have Campbell on down the line.
I was at my son's 5th, 6th grade football game at Regina
Yeah.
last Sunday,
Yeah.
and I ran into Phil and his wife, who's a lovely lady.
Yes.
And,
Elaine.
and Altmaier, I learned from Earl. I didn't know that, but she looks like an Altmaier in the face, that's for sure.
Patty.
Uh-huh. And
Lois. There's Lois.
what's Phil's wife's name?
Elaine.
Elaine,
Yeah.
thank you. I told Phil, first off, congratulations. There have been some wonderful articles about him this past week in the Gazette, in the Press Citizen, about his time at Iowa and some of the just incredible experiences that he's had working with and for George Wine, who we're going to get on this show one of these days.
Oh, that'd be good.
But I said, Phil, when you're retired, you're going to have time to come on our show every week.
Absolutely.
He said, just say the word.
Yeah, he'll be
So,
here.
Phil,
Yeah.
you said it. We're going to have
Yeah.
you on here.
Well, who's the trainer that was with the Iowa staff that's retired now? His wife, Lois, is Elaine's sister.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Oh, came from Purdue, right?
Yeah, oh my God,
I can
it
see
came-
him. Mike Crowley.
Ed Crowley.
Ed Crowley.
Ed Crowley
Ed Crowley.
is married to Lois, maiden name Altmaier,
I'll
who
be
is
darned.
Elaine Hattie's sister.
I'll be darned.
You knew
That's
that,
keeping
right,
it in
Murph?
the family.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So-
this is Altmaier goes to every I Club breakfast.
Really?
Oh yes.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
So do you.
Yeah.
Yep. So do you and Louise.
Yeah.
Well,
I was second president.
that's right. I
He's been president of everything Hawkeye at some point. I mean,
it took somebody to start all this ball rolling,
Absolutely.
and then
Absolutely.
Earl, he did it. I just want to mention too. I dropped an email to John Campbell just congratulating him,
Good.
and his response was, "That really means something coming from the biggest Hawkeye fan I know." And my reply was, "Well, you don't know Earl very well."
Bob Brooks is getting honored. The name
Oh,
of it,
yeah.
Bob who? Brooks?
Brooks.
Oh, Brooksy.
Yeah.
They're naming,
Kingston.
is it the Kingston Stadium
Yes.
Yeah.
press area?
Yeah.
Very well
Yeah.
deserved.
I've contributed already, so I always.
Yeah? How old is Bob Brooks? Murph? Is he
Got to be
like...
90. He's right the same age as
he-
Zabel, isn't he?
No, I don't think.
I think he's in his Is he about your
I'm
age,
about
Murph?
my age.
Your age.
88.
Okay.
88. Yeah, I think he's in his late 80s.
Bob Brooks walks into the post-game news conference Saturday
Yeah.
and says to the crowd of reporters, "How do you like them apples?"
You even sounded like him. You got that down pretty good.
How you doing, Coach? Coach, I got a question. How do you like them apples? That's what he said when.
Oh yeah, one of his famous
yeah.
cliches. Yes.
So, congratulations to John Campbell and Phil Hattie and to Bob Brooks. We think that's great.
Absolutely.
We got a little bit of time left, and I want to talk about the high school scene. First off, City High beats
Oh,
West
boy.
High last night
I think
in the
they're gonna
volleyball
I
game.
think they're going to be state champions.
City High?
Yeah, well, I mean, in football.
Or, I'm sorry, West High beats City High
Oh, yeah.
in the volleyball battle for the spike.
Number 2 beat
City
number
High,
1.
yes,
Right?
City High was number 1. The game was at City High. Both teams in volleyball are special.
Excellent.
And we know the story about West High and how they've lost their number 1 setter, or is that what
Yeah.
you call them when they set? Yeah. Caroline Found.
Yes.
Her dad was at the game last night. And if there's anyone who's been through hell and back, it's
Oh,
him.
my.
Lost his daughter unexpectedly and then his wife a couple weeks later.
That's right.
Just
2 weeks later.
makes you want to just break down and cry. And he was out there for those girls last night. That was a big win. And then, of course, there's football. City High went to Xavier, a team that was expected to battle City High for the division championship. And City High just mowed them over.
And I think Xavier had not allowed a point scored against them until they played City High.
Right.
We all know what happened there. They
Yeah.
just
City High won the game 52-24 at Xavier.
You talk about running somebody over.
Ooh.
They run people over.
Oh, yeah.
City High averages 400 yards rushing per game.
That's amazing.
Nobody does that.
12-minute quarters. I mean,
Yeah.
jeez.
It's just unreal.
Yeah, I realize they're ranked second behind Cedar Falls, but I'd find it hard to believe that somebody's going to beat City High this year.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
And West, man, they got a great team.
Now, City High is going to play at Cedar Rapids Kennedy at Kingston Stadium tomorrow night, Thursday night, not Friday, Thursday night. So we'll see what happens. I got a bad feeling Kennedy's going to
Oh, I think, yeah. I
get
mean,
mowed over like
they're going to
baby
get mowed
bunnies.
over. Oh, yeah.
Then there's West High, who just, came off a humbling defeat to City High the week before. They host Cedar Rapids Prairie, who had played very well and not given up many points all season. They come to West High last Friday night and lose 50-8 to West High. That, my friends, was a statement game.
Oh, yeah.
West High did not play well against City High. They went out and put it together against Prairie. Now, West High, we all got to hear Brian Sauser, the West High coach, speak at the quarterback club luncheon earlier this week, and he was pretty impressive, as always. Very good speaker.
Very good.
And-
Yep, he did a good job.
And then he told us about the remainder of their schedule, and it's going to be a murderer's row.
But he also told us, this is something I was impressed by that I did not realize. They have 145 kids out for football at
Yes.
West High, and their sophomore team is undefeated, and their freshman team has lost 1 game. So I think what's happening at West, like City High has done, they're building within the system, and they've got these. What you need is those continuous winning classes coming up the ladder.
Yep. And he also said at lunch, the first year, he was playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores. The first 2 years.
Yeah.
This year, he doesn't have any freshmen or sophomores on the varsity squad. And that's a good thing. You want the numbers of the
Yes.
upperclassmen to fill your roster in high school. It's really important.
And quite frankly, most kids would rather, let's take a sophomore that could move up to the varsity. A lot of those kids want to play with their peers.
And they want to play.
They want to play with the sophomore, yeah, exactly. They want to play with the guys in their sophomore class
Yeah.
or their freshman class, or if they can. However, if you get an opportunity to go up to varsity, if you can be a starter, that's a different thing. But if you're sitting on the bench, it's another thing. So.
That's right. Well, they've overcome much at
Yeah.
West High. I don't know if they're still ranked.
I think they are.
Are they still in the top 10?
I'm thinking they're 9th or 10th, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't know, but
Well, they're 3-1, right?
I think they're going to be a contender before this is all over. But they've got to get through a murderer's row at the end of the season. They've got to play Wash. They've got to play Linn-Mar. They've got to play Cedar Falls. City High doesn't play Cedar Falls in the regular season.
Well, they can win all of those games.
When did they play Linn-Mar?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's towards the end of the season. Their last 4 or 5 games are just killer. West
Washington's
High,
not as good, but Linn-Mar is good, and Cedar Falls, and those are their toughest two, I would say.
Yep. They're going to go to Cedar Rapids Jefferson Friday night. So both the public schools are out of town this week.
Yep.
Regina, on the other hand, went to Tipton last week and won 51-0. They will host Columbus Junction Friday night for homecoming. I had a chance to go out to the big bonfire last night at Regina. That was fun, big gathering. The freshman team had a game, then the girls had a powder puff game, and then they had the bonfire. And I think you'll see another shutout against Columbus Junction Friday night.
Is the only team that scored against Regina Solon 9 points? Is that? All their other games have been shutouts.
The opening game was a shutout at BGM.
Yeah.
The week after was a shutout after Solon.
The last two, yeah.
A 3A school.
Yeah.
So Solon has been the only team to score in Regina,
Yeah.
9 points.
Yeah.
And that was Regina dominated.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. They've got to be playing some pretty good defense.
I think Regina's probably going to dominate everyone until the last game of the regular season, which is West Liberty.
West Liberty is a good ball team.
And coached by the son of the longtime West Branch head coach, Butch Peterson.
Yeah.
So that I don't know where that game is, if it's at West Liberty or not.
I don't know either.
I'll take Regina.
I will too.
But West Liberty's only loss was controversial to West Branch first game of the season.
That's right.
Last play of the game.
Did he get over the line?
Did he get over the goal line? A lot of people will tell you he didn't, but counted as a touchdown. West Branch wins, game over.
That's right. No reviews in high school.
Nope.
Joe, how we doing on time? We got 3 minutes.
How about Iowa basketball?
Iowa basketball has the 7'1" Adam Woodbury from Sioux City East. I saw him and the team, the basketball team and coaches, on their way to the game, the football game Saturday morning. They walked through our parking lot. Adam Woodbury was on crutches. And those were the longest crutches I've ever seen in my life.
You know what happened? A scrimmage. He was involved in a scrimmage and came down on somebody's foot on, was that Friday maybe?
Here in Iowa City?
Yeah.
Didn't hear that.
Because they're they can scrimmage, no coaches around, and he was, from what I understand, playing with the varsity, and that's what happened. I also talked to a guy that was over there and saw them scrimmage on Saturday morning, and he said that to a person, except for one, I'd rather not mention that name, but he said to a person, every player looks improved. And he said somebody who really looked good was Matt Gatens. His shed like 20-plus pounds.
You're
and
kidding.
is a lot quicker. Going to the basket, yeah.
I didn't know he needed to lose weight.
Well, I didn't either, but I guess he's lost some weight. And he said everybody's looking good, but he was talking to one of the coaches at a function at Carver Friday night.
They had a private walkthrough for some people.
And a friend of mine and his son were there, and he said they are really high on this point guard, this Giselle. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Giselle. Giselle.
They are really high on him.
He's a top 100 recruit. Woodbury's a top 50.
Well, I'm just telling you, they're high on him. So I think we got a couple good ones there. Plus,
well, we're high on the Hawks, and unfortunately, we're out of time. So we want to thank everybody for watching. We're on every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on Channel 18. And if you missed the show Wednesday, you can see it again on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. on Channel 18. Yeah. You can go to my Facebook page and see it every week, or you can go to patv.tv and see the show there. It's always there on the official public access TV website, patv.tv. It's on the screen right there. You can watch it. And until then, I'm Dirk Keller. This is Bob Boyd and Earl Murphy.
We're green.
Thanking you for watching us. And don't forget to wear green Saturday. And don't forget this. Either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks. Bud and Carol, take care. We'll expect that scouting report next week. Thanks for watching. See you then.